Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. This week's Parsha is Beha'alosecha. In Parshas Beha'alosecha, Klal Yisrael begins on their journey in the desert. They take leave of Mount Sinai, and it says that they come to a place which unfortunately is Tavera. What is Tavera? A great fire came and consumed some of Klal Yisrael. Why is that? Because it says that Klal Yisrael was kimisayninim ra ba'oznei Hashem. They were complaining and saying very bad things in the ears of Hashem, meaning Hashem heard this and understood. What were they saying that was so terrible? It says, Kama lavatnu b'derech hazeh shleishi yomim, how much we have had to endure in this journey, this path, for 3 days. We had no time to rest. It says that they went on a 3-day journey, and some of our commentaries say they did a 3 days journey in 1 day. Why is this? Because Hashem wanted to bring them into Eretz Israel immediately, leaving Sinai, and as quickly as possible to come into Eretz Israel. And Klal Yisrael said, we're exhausted. This is unbelievable. I mean, this is what we're in store for. This is what is awaiting us. We're thoroughly exhausted and fatigued. And they complained. Then Klal Yisrael continued, and they said, we don't have any meat. All we have day in, day out is the man that falls from heaven. Even though the man tasted like anything they could imagine. Some say you could take the mun, you could cook it, you could bake it, you could roast it, you could fry it, do whatever you want with the mun. Nevertheless, it said, yeah, but we don't have meat. We haven't got meat. We remember the fish that we had for free when we were in Egypt. And now all we have is the mun. We find that at the end of the Parsha, Miriam speaks to Aaron, her brother, and says, why is it that Moshe Rabbeinu has separated himself from his wife? He's a prophet. We also have prophecy. The patriarchs had prophecy. They didn't separate from their wives. Miriam was afflicted with tsaras. The next parsha we have in Shlach about the Meraglim, the spies, who were sent into the land of Israel and came back with a very discouraging report. They said very poor things about the land of Israel. It's a land that consumes its inhabitants. What's the connection, the spies, to Miriam? Rashi tells us that the spies should have learned from Miriam. Miriam spoke lashon hara. She spoke evil gossip about her brother. She wasn't evil, but she spoke gossip. Why is Moshe separated from his wife, and why is it that we are and other prophets did not? And they should have learned from Miriam that one who gossips about someone else, subject to tsaras. They didn't learn this. And they spoke evil about the land of Israel. Question that is asked is that the land of Israel is an inanimate object. Moshe is a human being. He has feelings. You don't talk about a human being. You don't say anything derogatory. But this is the land. It's earth. It's dirt. It's stone. What is it? What do we see? That even an inanimate object is also subject to the laws of lashon hara. That's what our sages tell us. If that's the case, then why is it that we see that these misayninim here in our Parsha, when they complained and they said, we don't have meat, all we have is the mun, day in and day out, and it dries us out. Why don't we find that they were punished for the lashon hara about the mun? The mun, as the Torah itself testifies, was magnificent, it was tasty, it was easy to gain access to, you could do whatever you want, it was the most healthy. We don't find that they were punished for speaking lashon hara about the mun, yet the Meraglim were held responsible for lashon hara about Israel. They're both inanimate objects. In addition, we find in Parshas Achrei Mos Kedoshim, Parshas Kedoshim, it says that part of the punishment for those who engage in illicit behavior and adultery, that if such a thing is far too common, then the land of Israel, Toki eschem ha'aretz, the land of Israel will spit you forth, it will vomit you out, it will regurgitate. The land of Israel will just cause us to be sent into exile. It cannot tolerate. Isn't that strange? I understand if the Torah says that the consequences for this terrible, terrible transgression, adultery and immorality and incest is exile. I understand that. But why does it phrase it that the land itself will regurgitate us? What does that mean? In addition, we find the Chidush Harim asks a question. Hashem wants us to come into the land of Israel as soon as possible. Certainly Hashem has ways to bring us into Israel that did not necessitate that we should have to do 3 days of traveling in one day, that we should be so fatigued and exhausted, physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. Why is it that Hashem was orchestrating that we know we're going to go on a 3-day journey in one day, and that's how we're going to go to Israel? Why? The sages explain the land of Israel is it's not just an inanimate object. To speak about man or to speak about an inanimate object, there's no laws of Lashon Hara. But the land of Israel is different. If we think the land of Israel is just earth and stone, it's a tremendous fallacy. The land of Israel has a life to it. We find that in Parshas Beha'alosecha, where it presents the Tochacha, and it tells us, here it says, a verse, God tells us that if we indeed live sinfully, then Eschem ezorav hagoyim, I will scatter you among the nations. Harikoisi acharechem cherev, I will draw a sword after you. We will be exiled. And your land will be desolate, your cities will be laid to waste. They will just waste. The land itself, what's going to happen on the land? Nothing. The land will be desolate. The cities will go to waste. What is the Torah telling us? Why is that? Because the land of Israel and Klal Yisrael have a unique spiritual bond. The man had spiritual qualities. It was blessed and imbued with remarkable properties and qualities. But to say that the man and Klal Yisrael had a spiritual bond, that we don't find. But Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, and Klal Yisrael are bound together. It's almost like a marriage. And therefore, this land, it responds to Klal Yisrael. This land, when Klal Yisrael is exiled, there might be others who live there. They'll work the land, they'll plant, they'll try to build. The land doesn't respond. Only when Klal Yisrael is there do we see the land blossoming. Do we see swamps turn into magnificent gardens. Mark Twain, Winston Churchill, those who had seen the land of Israel in the 19th century, in the 20th century, the early 20th century, they write and they testify that there were nomads living there. Jerusalem wasn't a city. It was a couple of people living here, living there. The land was desolate. But after Jews moved into the land, they came and they returned to the land. And especially after we had 1948, the state of Israel, we see how this land has become fruitful. It's magnificent. The building that takes place to this very day, it's because Klal Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael have a unique bond and connection. And the land is like a husband and wife. They see each other. There's that automatic connection, and they respond to each other's needs. That's the land of Israel and Klal Yisrael. That's why when we're sent into exile, it'll be desolate. Why? Because the land won't respond. And this land because of its unique bond with Klal Yisrael, the land itself cannot tolerate immoral, incestual, adulterous behavior. This land has a unique bond with Klal Yisrael. The land can't tolerate it. This is not an ordinary inanimate object. There's something unique. There's something spiritually alive with Eretz Yisrael. The Chidushei Arim says, why is it that Hashem caused Klal Yisrael that they should have to travel 3 days worth within one day, that they should be so fatigued? Yes, it's true. They should have realized that if Hashem is bringing this upon it, it's for our good. Hashem loves us. Everything he does is for us. We should have accepted it. Like when we fast, this is Hashem's blessing to us. He's given us the mitzvah, the opportunity to have these fast days. Klal Yisrael shouldn't have complained, but why did Hashem bring this upon us? Chidushei Arim says, because the holy, sacred Eretz Yisrael, the unique bond that we have with this land, has to be earned. It has to be earned. The gift of this promised land. And Hashem wanted us to earn it through the difficult journey. That's how we'll earn it. And then after we come into the land, it will be easy. It will be done with ease. It will be done without any difficulties, without any suffering. We'll do the suffering now. In one day, we'll do the suffering. And then it'll be an open opportunity for us. That was Hashem's intent. Eretz Yisrael, not just the land, the unique bond and relationship that we have, this holy sacred land that responds to the holy sacred people, has to be earned. And that's why Hashem brought us 3 days worth of traveling in one day. This land of Israel, our homeland, our promised land, we have a unique bond, kesher, call it marriage, whatever you want to call it. The Jewish people have a unique bond to it. And it has to be earned. And we understand that sometimes earning it is difficult. There are conflicts, there are wars, there are acts of terrorism. But one thing we should always be aware of, this is the magnificent, holy, sacred land that Hashem promised to Abraham, to Yitzchak, to Yaakov, that he has given us. And the gift of this land, our heritage, our inheritance, will always remain, whether we are there or not. It is loyal, it is dedicated to us and to no one else. Proof? Hundreds of years, centuries, the land was desolate. Klal Yisrael's there. In one generation, it's blooming and booming. And we see before our eyes the miracle, not the miracle of human achievement, the miracle of the bond of the sacred Eretz Yisrael to Klal Yisrael. When we see that there are difficulties and difficult moments and circumstances, what we must recognize is that we're earning the incredible gift of Eretz Yisrael, where the very air and atmosphere is different, where we are walking and living and breathing the sanctity that is found. May the Hashem enable us to appreciate the great gift of Eretz Yisrael. May we be worthy of all returning to Eretz Yisrael speedily in our lifetime. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay Jewish. Have a wonderful Shabbos.